Howdy folks, how's everybody doing today? Happy Thursday. We're going to do a quick little introduction here for the course. Welcome to CIS 1500. I do have two different sections here this summer, so I'm just doing the same video for both sections, so apologize here. Hopefully you had a chance to check out some of this course information, and week one will launch about 8 a.m. or so, and we will just dive right in. So let's go over the syllabus. Now, I don't like reading things to people because I figure you folks know how to read. You got to college. So I just want to pick out some of the highlights here. This is my cell phone number. Feel free to call or text if you like. I've got 7 kids and a busy schedule, so I can't always answer the phone. But if you do like to call and I don't answer, leave me a voicemail. Let me know what time is a good time to call back. I'm usually much more of a later person. I try not to do anything early in the morning because that's why I got into computers, because early mornings are awful. So if you'd like me to call back 10, 11 p.m. at night, that's fantastic. One time I called someone back at 10 p.m. once I finally got my kids to bed and they were mad because they had to be up at work at 6 in the morning. Just let me know. If you want to talk at 6 in the morning, that's probably not going to happen. But let me know what times are good. I'll do what I can. My office hours, these are times I've got available just standing to meet with you folks, talk about IT stuff, questions about the class, nerd things if you want, or just check in and see how things are going. If you could schedule those via Calendly, we'll meet over Zoom. It is typically easiest for everyone. I do have an office at the Orchard Ridge campus if you like Farmington Hills or nearby there. I can meet you up there during the afternoon hours. The evening hours, the campus is closed, but tends to be most students are available a little bit later in the evening. So these tend to actually be more popular, but I can't meet on campus for those. So generally on Zoom, here's the standing Zoom room, password CIS here. Our class stuff, catalog descriptions, all copy paste. This is copy paste. The outcomes are fun. These are things we look at across anybody who teaches this class. These are sort of like the things that should happen when you've taught the class. So it probably doesn't mean a whole lot yet because we haven't really learned what some of these words mean, but we'll get there for all of these. For our textbook, we use a open educational resource or a free ebook. This was from Professor David Eck, who has retired since, so I have cloned his repository over to my site here just to make sure that wherever he used to host it, they don't take it down now that he retired. So we're going through not all of the chapters here as we go, but we'll go through a lot of the chapters. And then in terms of software, here's all the free software you can use if you want to install it on your computer, or you can also use our virtual desktops. You can connect in and have everything preloaded for you, whichever you prefer. So GitHub is a hosting provider of the Git source control tool. We'll talk more about that later, but you can make a free account at GitHub. Don't pay for anything, please. And we'll use the GitHub desktop client. There are lots of different ways to interact with Git. If you're familiar with it, use your favorite variety. I just like using the GitHub desktop client because it's the same no matter what language I teach. I have a Discord server. Please go ahead and join that. I find that to be the easiest way to interact with folks in classes, and you can send me direct messages, or honestly, if it's just a question about the class, if you post it in the class channel, then everyone else in the class who's in that channel is also going to see your question and my answer to it, just like if we were sitting in an actual classroom. So that's probably the best place for questions. There is a question and answers forum, but forums are old and don't, it's what it is. So Discord's pretty handy, and I tend to find most people are familiar with it. So when you join in, you'll have access to the rules channel. You have to accept the rules, and you have access to the roles channel. You have to pick the right role to get access to the right class channel, just to keep down the noise for some people. I prefer the IntelliJ IDEA Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. It's a free download here, but their website's kind of fun. When you go to download it, it says, hey, download Ultimate, which is when you have to pay for or get a license. You can technically get a free student license, but there's some hoops to go through it. So all you got to do is notice, hey, there's a little scroll bar here. Just scroll down and say, oh, here you go. Now you get the community edition, which is free to use. That's the one we're going to use because it's free, but it doesn't really look like it's there right away. So just make sure you scroll down here for that one. And then later we'll get to Scene Builder once we start doing stuff with Java FX. We're not quite there yet. It takes about 2/3 of the semester to get there. So if you want to download it now, great, but we're not really going to use it for a while. All right, some policies that are important. Plagiarism and cheating. This is a thing I am rather particular about because I feel like you should not be able to get a college degree and cheat your way through school. Because then when you go get a job and you don't know what you're doing because you cheated your way through school, they're going to think we did a terrible job at the school here of educating you, and they're not going to want to hire other graduates. So it's honestly in your best interest not to let your classmates cheat, right? I'm not saying you have to go snitch on them, but don't let them cheat. Don't let them cheat off of you. Make them go do their own work, right? You're in the class. Hopefully you're here to learn something. You know, I get some people just need a piece of paper, as that's kind of the way the world works. But, you know, if you want to learn how to program, you need to be able to program. That being said, the policy for my class is anyone engaging in academic dishonesty will receive a failing grade in the course and be reported to the dean's office. There is no 0 on the assignment. There is no try again. There is you fail the class. Cheaters will not pass my class if I find out that you cheated. Now, that being said, I understand that the way that the world works is we take things from other people and we use that to build our software. That's super common in the industry. I know there's a website called Stack Overflow that has tons of code examples and things, and people go there and ask questions, and people just out of the goodness of their heart take their time to answer those questions. So we build up this amazing repository of knowledge here. But this is academia, so what academic dishonesty is using someone else's idea without citing your source, right? Just like writing an English paper, you can't take someone else's words and put them in the paper without giving credit to that author. So if you're not sure, ask me, right? I'm happy to let you know. Hey, yeah, we got to cite that source, right? There's no foul in asking me about it here, and I'm telling you have to cite the source before you turn it in, right? It's perfectly fine to do that. That being said, I do have a large issue here with Chegg.com and similar sites here. Chegg in particular makes it awfully difficult for me to get things taken down, and they make me have to go get a letter from my dean, which is a big pain because he's a busy guy. And they're awful. They're really just terrible people because they want you to pay for their, quote, tutoring service, which means you're going to go get answers to your homework. And they're just terrible. They do have a thing where I can upload a test, and for 24 hours, they will prevent those questions from showing up on their website. Did you know? I kind of know how software works. If you can prevent it for 24 hours, you can prevent it forever. But they say, no, we're only going to prevent it for 24 hours. After that, this is how we make our money, right? We want students to post those tests and us to have the answers for them that they pay to come and get here. So citing a source from Chegg is not okay. You may not use Chegg.com for anything, and you cannot post class material there. That's actually a violation of our policy as well. We'll take a look at it in a second. So any use of Chegg or similar websites like Course Hero, or I forget all of them out here, will be considered academic misconduct. Now, chat tools like ChatGPT, AI, Copilot things, those are fantastic. I love them, but the problem is we're still learning how to program. So if you just ask it to give you some code and you turn in the code and you cite your source and say, hey, I asked ChatGPT for this particular solution here, and you turn it in, you haven't actually really put any effort in. Right? That's like taking an English paper and saying, hey, please write my English paper for me, putting a quote at the beginning, a quote at the end, and saying, here's my paper. You know that won't fly for English, right? That's not going to fly for this class either. So you can't be one giant quotation. You have to have original effort being added here. So yeah, go ask Chat, hey, I'm stuck on this, or I'm getting an error here, or, you know, how do I do this one particular small thing here? Great, cite your source, we're okay. Just like an English paper, right? Here's the little paragraph I've cited here, and here's my original effort around it. Right. So if you're not sure, ask. But in general, we probably don't need to use ChatGPT for lots of things. Asking about errors is great. It's actually pretty handy for being able to find errors in your code. Say, hey, here's my code. I'm getting an error at this line. Can you help me figure out what it is? It's pretty good at that. You know, I'm decent at debugging things too. I've had a lot of experience. But that's a great use of it there for helping you debug things or figure out why it's not working the way you expect it to. But just saying, here's the assignment I need to write. Give me a solution. Is not going to fly, right? Just like an English paper. So if you're not sure, just ask, okay? And then the OCC Handbook, this is where we really get into things like plagiarism is the big thing for academic dishonesty here. And then also acquisition of academic material or distribution of the same. This is why you can't even post stuff on Chegg.com. Posting academic material on Chegg.com is a violation of the policy right away, regardless of whether or not you even got an answer off of there. So just posting it there is a violation of the policy. And then anyone who aids and abets, as well as those who attempt such behavior, are considered in violation of the academic integrity policy. So again, I apologize. I'm a bit of a stickler for this, but it's in all of our best interests if cheaters don't get degrees. And the code of conduct is a copy paste. The grading policy, how you get your grade. So I like to use a weighted system. So we'll have assignments that are labs, we'll have assignments that are projects, we'll have quizzes that are quizzes, we'll have a single exam for a midterm, and we'll have a final project. So the points in those categories add up to make your final score for that category, which accounts for this percentage of your overall score. So the final project is worth a ton here, and it's designed on purpose. You can't pass the class without the final project. Right? It just can't happen mathematically, and that's done on purpose here. So it'll all add up. It's all set in D2L. It should work out pretty well for you. If you got questions, let me know. For the letter grade, this should be a pretty standard scale across. We've been asked to use the standard one. Technically, we don't have to because of weird rules here in academia. Is a crazy place. But in general, you should see this pretty standard scale. And then if you'd like a WS mark, it's a instructor initiated withdrawal. Like if you wanted to drop, but it's past the drop date, I can essentially give this to you as long as you ask and you haven't presented your final project. If you've gone through the entire class, did your final, and still failed, I can't give you the WS, right? But if you don't present the final project, I have the option at my discretion to give you a WS, and I'm happy to give them to you if you ask. It can have implications for financial aid, so generally I fail people rather than withdrawing them if they fail the class and don't do the final. For the N grade, there's a N mark date. If you haven't turned anything in, a gradable work, and we have a quiz the very first week, it's just on the syllabus, it's not very exciting. If you haven't turned anything by that date, I have to enter an N mark for you, which is bad stuff for financial aid, drops you out of the class. If you're on financial aid, if you are paying by yourself, it doesn't drop you out of the class anymore. I think this semester they're working on changing that. For late work, I don't accept anything late without prior written approval, especially for the projects, because I will post solutions to the projects so you folks can see how I would go about solving the project. Generally, people say that's pretty useful here. I just can't take things late because I've already gone over a solution. So please plan accordingly for that. Other standard policies here. If you need any sort of accommodations with the American with Disabilities Act, please contact the Access Office and they will contact me. That's the only legal way to go about doing this. But please reach out if there's anything they can do to help. The Academic Support Center is fantastic. They are one of my favorite things here about OCC, and they offer tutoring. A lot of times we say it's free, but that's probably a little bit of a misnomer here. You don't have to pay anything for it. So it's no additional charge, but it's already paid for by your tuition and tax dollars. So someone's paying for it, but you're not charged every time you use it here. So we got lots of cool CIS tutoring availability. I don't think they've updated this for summer yet. Does it say when it was last updated? But check out at Penji, to sign up for appointments here. We got actually a pretty good variety of times here, some afternoons, evenings, even some weekend times as well, which is fantastic. So that's pretty exciting. So not everyone tutors for 1,500, but Rika does, Jordan does, Andre does, Tim does. So hopefully we got some good times there. And check out Penji for the latest hours here as well. Right. If you have technical issues, you can check out the Student Technical Help Desk. D2L issues, you can call them. That's like the website's not working. If it's a content-related thing, that's me, because I pulled all the content in here. Our technology appropriate use, don't do stupid things with college resources or you lose access to those resources. Netiquette, just please be kind. That's really the easiest thing here. For public safety, there's not generally a whole lot applicable here with an online asynchronous class, but we got their site. And then our libraries, we have some really cool library stuff here I wanted to show you. We've got these amazing resources. So if you take a look at the resource, I was supposed to open that in the new tab. Sorry, I wanted to control click that for new tab. Let me go find that again here. There we go, our research guide. So they put together a research guide just for us, which is super cool for CIS. And it's got some cool links here. So one of them is, which one is it here? Goodness, I just looked at this here. Is it selected ebooks? Yes, IT Pro Books 24/7 is going away, but we do have O'Reilly for Higher Education. So this is super cool. So you can click this O'Reilly for Higher Education link here, and you will basically have free access for all things O'Reilly, which they've got a ton of books out there. So if there's anything interesting that you're like, hey, I want to read more about this in tech here, you can go to this O'Reilly site here. Let's go and take a look. Yes, I got it. Thank you. Take a look and look up what things they have here. So, hey, here's an introduction to generative AI. Here's a Python crash course. Here's ChatGPT. here's Linux stuff, here's databases. They have all sorts of really cool resources. O'Reilly's actually a really cool publishing company. Got lots of good content out here. So would love for you to take advantage of that. If there's something you're interested in, right, you can go find information about it here. And it's not going to be the kind of hunting and gathering you have to do on YouTube, where some videos are good and some are not so good. So anything they put out is generally at least a decent quality, right? You're not going to get much garbage at all from O'Reilly because they pay to publish it. So take advantage of that and any of the other cool stuff we've got out here. Lots of other good, great resources here on the CIS page. Lots of good stuff about software and programming. So good stuff here from the libraries. They are fantastic. All right, as for me, the goal is to have stuff graded within a week of the due date. If you've checked me out on Rate My Professor, this has not gone well. I've got 7 kids. I get sick a lot. And I've not yet had a good semester doing this, which has been rough. I've been teaching full-time here since 2020. It's a bit embarrassing, but that's the goal. When we get to the projects, you actually will score yourselves using a rubric, and I'll show you how all that works when we get to the projects there. And generally, I give you the score you give yourself. You do a little self-assessment. I show you the rubric. Here's how you get your points for doing this. Here's how you get your points for doing this. Here's how you get your points for doing this. And I'll agree with your self-assessment. Now, if you say you got all the points and you gave me a pile of garbage that doesn't even run, I'm not going to give you the points. But essentially, like, hey, you go through and you say, yeah, I did it. We get the points here. It works out pretty well. I will generally respond to you within 24 hours or less. Like any good millennial, I'm addicted to my phone. It's always in my pocket. Occasionally, my little guy does watch YouTube Kids on this, and he swipes away notifications. So if I haven't got back to you in 24 hours, please reach out again. You're not bothering me at all. You're not pestering me at all. I might have just missed it in the pile. Discord is great, email is great, texting is great, whatever you like, whatever your preferred style of communication is. If you like to make phone calls, call me, right? That's great. Whatever you are comfortable with, I should be able to get back to you relatively quick. And if you haven't heard from me, please reach out again. All right, and then our course schedule, our super exciting schedule. So again, we're going to start every Thursday here at 8 a.m. and the weeks will end the following Thursday at 7:59 a.m. At some point, someone decided all of our online courses should start Monday and end Monday during the semester. And then if you have something due Monday, because that's the due date, people wait until the day before it's due to start it, which is not a good habit, right? Try not to get into that habit. But then I would get lots of questions on Sundays. And I try and answer questions when I can on Sundays. I'm usually relatively busy doing stuff with the kids and family and church on Sunday. So it'd be hard for me to answer all the questions on Sunday. So I realized, hey, I get to set the due dates. They don't have to be due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. or Monday morning at 8 a.m. I could make things due Thursday, which works out pretty well. So you can start the week Thursday, get a couple things done, work over the weekend. Then if you got other questions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, finish up the last little couple things we need to do, check in with me. I've got some office hours throughout the week, and I can help you get moving. So like I said, we're not going to hit all the chapters, but chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We pretty much go through all of those, and we hit 7 and 8. 7 we hit most of, 8 we hit a little bit of, and then we come back for some files, doing input and output files here from chapter 11, and then a little bit of additional graphical user interface programming from chapter 13. And then we do have the last week set aside for work time. So we kind of rush through a little bit faster so that the second to last week, the only thing you have on your plate is to work on the final project, and I've got the entire week to help you with it. Ideally, it's done this last week, but it won't be due until the 8:15, and you'll do final project presentations over Zoom. I'll have all sorts of availability this last week here of 8:15. The semester doesn't end until the following Monday, so we can do anytime Thursday, anytime Friday. I might have a few weekend appointments. I generally try not to have a lot, but given it's summer, I'll be flexible, and then we'll have all Monday. So if you're done even earlier, right, what Tuesday, Wednesday of that week as well, I'll have some appointment slots available. But it's a 15-minute or less presentation, so you're going to hop on Zoom, you'll screen share, show me that your project runs, we'll go over the rubric, we'll go over your self-assessment, I might ask you a couple questions about the code. I'll be honest, this is my last best effort to catch people who've cheated through the semester. Right? If you present a project here and it doesn't look like this is your very first class ever programming, it's pretty obvious. Right? And if I ask you questions about your code and you have no idea what's happening in your code, it's pretty obvious, that sort of thing. So, and then it's a chance, because it's online asynchronous, I almost never talk to people unless they reach out and schedule appointments with me. So I at least get to see everybody once, which is lots of fun. Excuse me. So if there's plans for changes, I'll post and let you know, but if not, that's the plan for the semester. And then just a couple other things real quick here. You can find my website out here. This is my page. You've got links here to our GitHub repositories. So all of the code examples I do in class will go into these GitHub repositories here. I don't like putting code in Desire to Learn because it's not made for code, right? This website here, GitHub, is a hosting provider of the Git source control tool. It's made to host code and make code explorable and be able to go find it and look at it and do all sorts of fun things here. So that's probably not a great one. Let's just take a look at maybe my 297 class. So this is not Java. It won't make a lot of sense here, but this was my C# class last winter. And you can go in and say, hey, I want to look at the Yahtzee thing here. Okay, and then I want to say, hey, I want to find the player.cs file. And I can look at the code right in the browser here, and then I can actually like click a particular line here, like line 11, and copy this link here, the URL, and I can send it over to me, or you, I guess you could send it to me in this case here. Like, hey, Eric, I'm having a question with my code here. Here's the line that I'm having some trouble on here. Can you take a look? So this is fantastic. So we want to get our code into GitHub, which is this online hosting provider, the cloud service provider for this source control tool here. And then if you can see it on the website, I'll be able to see it on the website. That's the most amazing thing here, right? So that way you don't have to be emailing me files back and forth, or you don't have to, all those sorts of things. If you can get your code online here into the cloud, I'll be able to see it. And I'll talk you all through that when we do our first practice assignment as well. So get links to my repositories where I'll put my code examples for you to go and look at as well. All right, so there's that one. My Calendly link, so this is how you'll schedule office hours appointments. Just go to calendly.com/Eric Chaneski/office hours, or click the link, right? It's probably easier to just click the link. You pick a day, find a time slot. Now, please notice, right, these are evening times, right? Usually 3 or 4 people during the early part of the semester schedule something at like 10:30 or 11, and they hop on in the morning and they email me like, hey, Eric, it's 10:30, you're not here, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, can you look again? Because I don't have 10 a.m. appointments. 10 a.m. is awful. I do not like mornings at all. I usually like to be up till 4 in the morning and sleep till noon if I can help it. I don't always get to sleep till noon because of all the kids, but that's my preferred schedule. So 10 in the morning is still early for me. So just notice the time here, but it'll send you a calendar invite if you use your calendar tool, and we can go from there. So should be fun. That's my Calendly link. The Discord server invite can get you into Discord. My Zoom room, password to CIS here. I do have a questions and answers forum. If you like discussion forums, great. If you don't want to use any of the other tools, that's okay. You can post stuff here. Everyone will be able to see it. I'll be able to answer your questions from there. Oh, this group tutor one we need to delete. My apologies. I thought I did that already, and I did not. Let me go take that out of the other one too. So sorry. All right, well, that's about it for the course overview. Welcome to the class video. If you got any other questions, let me know. If not, I look forward to hearing from you, and let's have a great semester. Take care, everybody.